2:30. What is up, fight fans? Welcome to the MMA Plug on Mile High Sports. I'm your host, Jordan Kurtz. You can give me a follow along online at Comments from the Peanut Gallery. I'm joined here in studio with a special guest today, filling in for the big yins. We have my man, the Bobby Z. Bobby Z, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing good.
Bobby, where can people follow you?
At the Bobby Z with 2 E's in the, and yeah, pretty much on Instagram only for the most part.
We're going to have a very LFA-centric episode today here on the MMA Plug. LFA is returning back here to Colorado. They're going to be at the Dobson Arena this Friday night. Bobby's on the card. We're going to chat with Bobby a little bit more in depth. We're chatting with one half of the main event, Justin Wetzel, as well as Ed Soares on the program today. And we're going to talk a little bit of UFC action here in the process too as well. And we're going to button things up by going 3 rounds to close out the show. But guys, I want to right now highlight the crew here at the Mile High Sports Network. Please make sure that you smash that follow and subscribe buttons on all platforms. If you have the chance, hit the bell for notifications so you do not miss a drop. There's no shortage of great things happening here right now at the Mile High Sports Network. You have winter sports about to kick off. Football season is in full tilt right now. Danny and Anilo are on site at the moment talking with Patrick Surtain doing a feature. So, you know, there's, like I say, nothing but great things that are coming from the crew here. Make sure that you give them a follow along, whether that's on the podcast side of things, the magazine, the website, the radio station, anywhere possible. Check out Mile High Sports. Guys, this last weekend in the UFC, we had an opportunity to see a couple of highly touted middleweight prospects. And oh my God, in the main event, Bobby, did we have some questions answered?
Yeah.
Anthony Fluffy Hernandez is that dude.
Yeah, totally agree. His cardio is unmatched. And to see him just slowly, I mean, let's start with the beginning when he got hurt to the body, and then just to put it on him the rest of the fight. I mean, that's his style. That's, if you fight him, you know, that's how he's coming out and that's what he's doing, but it's hard to stop.
Definitely. And, you know, I think that's really kind of the only weakness throughout his career that we've seen, or where we've seen Fluffy really get hurt, has been shots to the body. Kevin Holland was able to do that to him. And then obviously the early adversity against Pineda, but you better put him out because he has that high level of cardio that he's going to recover. And then if you don't, or if you punch yourself out in the process and don't put him away, it's going to be a bad night, because his wrestling heavy grinder style, he doesn't hit hard enough to put you out, but he hits you hard enough to bruise and to brutalize and to punish you in the process. He's just tenderizing you. He's not putting you out, but it's just, oh man, like that hurts over and over repeatedly.
Yeah, it's like the Nate Diaz, but at middleweight to some degree, you know, cardio, volume, and just relentless. It's awesome to watch.
Yep, absolutely. And just chatting a couple of fights on that card to run through real quick before we get to one of our first guests of the day. Rob Font, I mean, tremendous showing from Rob Font. He came out, he was a seasoned vet in that matchup against Kyler Phillips, and showed exactly why he has been that guy in the upper echelon of the rankings for quite some time now. You had our friend Charles Energy Johnson going out there digging deep and going into the dark waters with Suma Derji, who is a straight up zombie fighter. That guy is never out until you completely finish him. Cameron Smotherman gets the call on short notice. He gets the win against Jake Hadley. He was over in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, set to corner for Rafion Stotts. Gets the call on short notice, has to hop right back on a plane, come back, cut weight, gets the win on short notice. And it was just awesome to see the exuberance of joy from him in his post-fight interview. That's basically, you know, you could tell that he was just locked in for the moment, and he realized, and actually the moment hit him that he's in the UFC, and got his win while he was in that post-fight interview. So that was certainly awesome to see. And then have to give a shout out to a couple of dogs who opened up the card in Darren Elkins and Daniel Pineda. They absolutely went to war. They got the fight of the night bonus. Daniel Pineda retired following that. This fight was absolutely nuts in the Apex. Can you imagine if it was in front of a crowd? That was the 99th show at the Apex. Is there going to be something special that they do for the broadcast for the 100th in a few weeks? We'll see. Folks, we're going to join right now one half of that main event for this weekend's LFA show, we bring to you bantamweight Justin Wetzel.
You're good.
Cool. Cool.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MMA Plug on Mile High Sports. I'm here with one half of this weekend's LFA main event. We have who we've spoken about many a times on this program as we believe the best unsigned bantamweight in the world. We have the one, the only, the great and powerful Justin Wetzel. How you doing, my man?
Hey, that was quite the introduction, man. I'm doing pretty good. It's fight week, but I'm feeling good, man.
Awesome. Well, Justin, we're happy to have you here on the MMA Plug. This is a big opportunity for you here fighting in the home state. It is at a very high altitude environment, as your sweatshirt conveniently says right there. But we're at one of the highest contested events in all of the world for mixed martial arts, one of the two highest in North America in Vail, Colorado at the Dobson Arena. What are some of your thoughts on being in the main event, and what does this opportunity mean for you?
Yeah, man, it is an opportunity, and what you're saying, it's super high elevation. I'm actually up in Dillon, Colorado right now. Just got up here a little bit earlier. It's actually 1,000 feet higher than Vail. Just to try to get a little acclimated. Because I'll tell you what, man, once we get in that cage on a mountain, we're both gonna get tired. And there's no way around that, unless this fight ends quick. We're gonna get tired, and we're gonna see who really wants it when we get tired. Yeah, I'm really grateful for this opportunity because I feel like this is my ultimate test to finally, like, this makes me undeniable. You kind of set yourself. I haven't been signed, and a lot of people think, including myself, that kind of would have been there already. It is what it is, but this is the test. It's me and another guy that lives in Albuquerque. We're from the mountains, and we're going up to a bigger mountain to fight on a mountain. And once I put this guy away, I think this makes me undeniable.
That all being said, when you fight for the Legacy Fighting Alliance and when you're in that marquee position on the card, your name and face is on that poster, usually getting your hand raised in that sort of situation yields some positive results. So that all being said, do you believe that a win on Friday night gets you that call, or do you think that maybe it sets up an LFA title shot, or what could be next? What is your thoughts? What would you, in a perfect world, what do you envision?
Yeah, I see myself getting the finish and then getting signed from there. You kind of set yourself. The LFA main event spot, regardless if it's for a title or not, kind of carries the same weight. A shiny title makes it look a little better, but generally the people who are in an LFA main event are right there and ready to get signed off a good win. I think that's the case with me. In my opinion, like this is a contender series or a 3-round LFA title fight. The bantamweight division doesn't have a title holder. The former champion, he fought. I can't remember his name right now. Sweeney. Yeah, he fought, but he was like 4 pounds overweight. So that title's empty. I mean, this is like the unofficial title fight for me / contender series fight passage to get into me. An LFA title fight sounds cool, but if I'm being honest, I don't see that happening after this. I think I'm graduating after this, man. I like LFA. They have a great professional production. They prep for the UFC, but I want to be done fighting for LFA, man. I want to fight in the big leagues.
Yeah, and I think that you said it very well there yourself. It's no slight to the Legacy Fighting Alliance crew because they do a tremendous job of preparing you for that next stage. But where you're at this juncture of your career, like, you're ready to take that next step. So I totally understand the mindset there. Now, you've been amidst a plethora of high-level training partners for years now. Who has been some of the fixtures or the focal points of your training camp who have helped prepare you for this?
Yeah, throughout the years, I've worked a lot with Corey Sanhagen. He's been a tremendous influence with my game, whether it's mental and life, rounding out my game. There's really a great handful of people. I recently met King of Sparta winner Ellie Wise last year, and he helped me a lot at this camp actually with my Muay Thai. He's going to be in my corner. Sorry guys, my brain's a little scrambled. I'm kind of running out of names to like drop on the spot, right? But definitely one of the biggest influences in my life coming out to Colorado and training has been Corey. Massive, massive. Seeing what he does, like seeing what a high level pro does, and one of the best fighters in the absolute world, it gives you a good like trajectory or like what you should be doing to get there. And I know that's what I'm doing.
Definitely. I mean, somebody like him who he's like there's a lot of great fighters in Denver, right? But there's some who are even more special with a little bit of extra something on top of that, right? And I think that Corey is one of those guys who he can go to any room in the entire world and be respected as one of the most knowledgeable and accomplished guys that there is. So I think that that's definitely something that helps, helps with somebody like you and your growth. But I feel like having somebody like him who's so willing to also share his knowledge, because again, there's a lot of guys out there who are tremendous competitors, right? But they maybe aren't willing to open themselves up to that next generation of guys. I see the trickle down effect of Corey Sandhagen through guys like yourself, all the way down to the young crew from high altitude and some of those guys who who are on the rise right now on the Colorado scene. And you can see the essence of Corey Sandhagen and so many of the people that he's been involved with in his career. And I think that that's kind of special to see. And it's a kudos to him and his leadership to be able to have that profound of an impact.
It really is, man, because there's some 20-year-olds, 22-year-olds, and I'm like, these kids are really good. Like, I was not even close to this level they're at right now. I'm like, you guys got dealt a great hand living out here in Colorado, at the age you were whatever. It's pretty crazy to see the next generation of like talent who've been training when they were 14, 15, even younger, and now they're in their early 20s. It's scary, man. It's scary. There's some 20-year-olds that give me some really tough rounds. I'm like, man, this next gen is scary.
We talk about it all the time. This next generation, they're training everything at an early age. And so, I think from about like our generation and those before, it was a lot of like, you had your specialist avenue and then you rounded out as time went, right? But we have these kids now who are coming up through these programs and, they're doing multiple disciplines every single week. And so they're growing like a mixed martial artist does from the time when they're knee high to a grasshopper. And then now that some of these kids are teenagers, it's no wonder what we see in some of like these smokers or these kids who come out and they just start lighting the scene up in these first couple of smokers or their amateur debuts and whatnot. I think it's pretty special to see.
It really is, man. I just to say it again, man, when I see it, it blows my mind because I remember at that age where my skill level was at, and it is just night and day difference. Night and day difference. Like it's kind of like you said, you had like your specialist option and then you started to round it out. Whereas now, like being rounded out is like your base, like what you're coming into.
Definitely. And you've got a very strong grappling base with your game, but you have some tremendous pop to your hands too. I mean, was it your first LFA fight where it was like 20-second knockout somewhere around in there?
It wasn't 20, it was 27.
20. Excuse me, folks. I was off by a few seconds.
But yes, to answer your question, yeah. And I think that plays a part to like my style, right? People already know I'm going to wrestle, I'm going to grapple. But what that can do mentally is like, okay, here comes a shot, and then, the strikes come. And that's what MMA is, mixing everything and being effective with that. Because there's people out there that are better wrestlers than me, but maybe they don't get the grappling or the exchanges as well as I do because they don't set it up as well with the hands and the kicks and the, and blending the striking, where it's like, okay, I know he's about to shoot right here. Whereas with me, it's like, you don't know what's coming.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, very well said right there. The grappling opens up the way for the devastating strikes. As we tie things up here, Justin, is there anything that you want to throw out there to your friends, family, supporters, anybody watching that we haven't covered yet?
Oh, come on, man. There's a ton of things, but I'm
I
on the
know there's so
spot.
much. We only have so little time.
I'll keep it super simple. Everyone knows who they are, who's been with me. I'll dive on this more, but it's been an extremely long road to get where I'm at right now. I'm not going to talk too much into that. Everyone knows who they are, and you know, it's been a long road to get where I'm at right now today, and we still have one job to do, and that's get my hand raised Friday. So thank you everybody that's been a part of this journey.
Absolutely. And one final question, Justin. I like to ask this to everybody that we bring on because it gives us a little bit of a journey into the person behind the fighter. Is there a song lyric, a quote, maybe a movie scene, passage of a book, Bible verse, anything of that sort that tells the tale of Justin Wetzel for this camp?
Again, on the spot, man. Let me get back to you on that one. I can't pull that one out right now.
All right, fair enough right there. Well, folks, we have you right here talking to one half of the main event for this weekend's LFA show that's going to be going down at the Dobson Arena up in Vail. You can check out the action exclusively on UFC Fight Pass. For any updates and following along with your progress and career, where can people follow you, Justin?
Yeah, my socials, JWets MMA. That's across all platforms: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Check it, and Twitter.
There you have it right there, folks. Make sure that you check out the action this Friday night. Again, that's going to be exclusively on UFC Fight Pass. I'm Jordan Kurtz. Stick around after the break. We're going to be talking more LFA and combat sports news. This is the MMA Plug on Mile High Sports. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you. Welcome back to us here in studio for the MMA Plug on Mile High Sports. I'm Jordan Kurtz. Give me that follow online at Comments from the Peanut Gallery here with my man, the Bobby Z. Bobby Z from Bobby. Where can people follow you again?
At the Bobby Z with 2 E's.
So, folks, this weekend, as mentioned, this is an LFA-centered episode of the MMA Plug here. Bobby is going to be fighting this weekend. Bobby, why don't you tell people a little bit more details and, so on and so forth for where can people follow the action, what's the platforms, time, so on.
Yeah, so LFA is going down this Friday in Vail, and it's going to be LFA 195. I believe fights start at 5:30 Mountain Time. And the main card is on UFC Fight Pass at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. I should be on around 6:30-ish, maybe 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And yeah, it's a stacked card. There's, I think, 15 fights between the prelims and the main card. And it's always a good show that LFA puts on. So if you're in town and can make it to Vail, it's going down Friday night.
Absolutely. And prelims are typically, those are on YouTube. So, you get the opportunity to check out those fights. And anytime that the LFA is around, it's a big league level production and I can't stress that enough. It's an awesome promotion to be able to take in as a fan and also just to be a part of, within the fight community itself. I've always had a strong connection with the folks at the LFA. And, Bobby, I think that this is a tremendous opportunity for you to go out there and showcase your skills. This is a big opportunity for you. This is your first fight as a professional back here in Colorado. After you got your hand raised with that first victory, what was that feeling as a pro, to say that, what, I actualized this dream that's been manifesting for so long?
Yeah, it was a long time coming, but it felt like it should, and it felt like this is where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing. My last fight was back in March, uh, and now to fight here closer to home, it just makes things easier. And to be fighting for LFA, I've been long wanting to fight for them and get the opportunity, and so I really pushed for this one, and here we are, and I'm looking forward to it.
Stylistically, as it comes to this matchup, Bobby, you have your collegiate wrestling background, but now you have the opportunity to open up the game a little bit with some elbows in the process. And again, you don't have to give your game plan by any means, but what can people expect to see from you this Friday night?
Yeah, I think what you can expect is I'm going to be calm, composed as always, but methodical, relentless, and I'm definitely going to be throwing elbows at some point, whether it's on the feet or on top. But yeah, it's going to be. I firmly believe my best performance to date, and I'm really looking forward to doing it.
Bobby, I always enjoy having conversations with you because you bring a different level of insight, or you're a different type of thinker than we typically get in our world in combat sports. Very deep thinker, intellectual, obviously very an educated person as well in the process. How do you think that your ability to use skills that you've gained from that realm of your life, how has that helped you as a fighter? Because you're pretty methodical in your breakdowns.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's critical, especially in fighting. I think early on I had to learn. I had 2 knee surgeries within probably 9 months of each other. It set me back. I wanted to come back sooner than I should have. I was trying to be tough. And I guess the lesson I learned was, you can be tough in this sport and there's a time and place to be tough, but you got to be methodical. You got to be smart. You have to take care of yourself. Uh, only you know how you feel. Uh, and then, of course, the team around you. You have a good group and that's really important. But yeah.
You're also huge on the self-discovery and just, like, the journey, if you will. Like, you have the duality, like, some people are straight warriors, some people are straight martial artist. You have a blend of each, which is kinda different out there. Like, not a lot have such a blend the way that you dive onto both sides of that fence there. What does that mean for you? Or especially, like, having to have gone through, some of the incredible or tremendous adversities that you've had to go through, whether it be yourself, other things outside of the cage, or just obstacles that have kept things from being the most ideal situation, but you've been able to prevail through all of that. Do you think that having that blend within your mental space is an asset, or talk to me about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it comes from my experience, my adversity, my challenges, just like we all have as people. But I can say for myself personally, I learned a lot during those times. I read a lot. I tried to optimize my health, my performance, and other aspects when I was on the sidelines and not being able to train. Um, so I think you make the most of your time. That's this very moment. That's tomorrow. That's your next week, your next month. And whether I'm doing what I want to do or I'm not, I want to make the most of my time and just diversify my tool set, whether it's actually on the mats or inside my head. Yeah.
Okay. So, Bobby, I want to switch gears here for a quick second before we wrap things up here for you. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but Bobby is on the low, probably the best barista in Denver. Bobby, how did you get this, I guess, love or passion for coffee? And how the hell do you make a cup so good?
Yeah, great question. So I got back from Europe a little over 8 weeks ago, and I was there for a month, traveling all around Austria and then parts of Italy. And the biggest takeaway, I mean, there's many from Europe to the US, but the coffee here is generally not very good compared to Europe. They make some strong espresso. So long story short, I came back and I was like, I need to get an espresso machine. I got an Italian espresso machine. It's, not the highest end one, but it does the job. I've been playing with it. I have a manual lever espresso machine. So I've just been nerding out on the coffee and I've been bringing Jordan some double shots in the mornings to the gym, and then some other coaches as well. So it's been fun. It's a fun little hobby, and I really enjoy it. And highly recommend look into espresso, look into getting a cheap machine, and ditch the Starbucks.
Very well said, my man. Bobby, you have a lot of high level talent in the training room that you share. Who have been some of the major training partners, coaches, and all of those involved with your preparation for this fight?
Yeah, yeah. No, we have quite a diverse group. I've been mainly going with AJ Cunningham, Chris Gutierrez, uh, Alex Rigo, and then a handful of other guys that are gym, but all push me each and every day. I'm learning from them, and yeah, it's they've been amazing this camp, and I think it's all going to show on Friday.
Awesome. And one final question for you here, Bobby. Is there a song lyric? I know you're a big Russ guy, but is there a song lyric, a passage from a book, a movie scene, quote, whatever, so on and so forth, that has just been ringing out to you for these last few weeks while you've been in camp that's telling the tale of Bobby Z for this Friday night?
Mm, that's a good one. I would say Russ or probably another rapper called NF. He's a Christian-based rapper and doesn't curse in any of his songs, but super aggressive and upbeat. Check him out if you're looking for somebody. And he says something to the extent, why are you so worried about your money? You can't take it to your grave, or you can't take it with you to your coffin. And that I don't know if that's been on my mind the last few weeks, but just in general, like, I didn't get into this sport for money. Money is part of it. You want to get compensated, of course, but passion is why I got into it, to compete. And I think that's super important to remember as I navigate my career and go through it. I don't ever want it to be about money. I, of course, want to get paid, but it's about the love of the sport. So, yeah.
Love to hear it right there, folks. That wraps up our segment here with our man Bobby Zefren. You can check him out this Friday for LFA 195. But right now, also joining along, we have the head honcho, our friend of the program, returning back once again, the CEO, Mr. Ed Soares. Ed, how you doing today?
Hey, good, man. How are you?
Awesome, Ed. So great to have you back on the program. I know
Thanks
that
for
you're making
having
your
us.
way back out this direction. How excited are you to be back to Colorado? I know that you make some frequent stops.
Yeah, I love coming back to Colorado. Love coming to Vail. Vail's definitely one of our highlights of the year. We go there once a year, and it's always an incredible show. The town of Vail is just what do they call it? It's like it's just incredible up there. I mean, the views. It's an incredible town to go to. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it might be the mixed martial art event that's held at the highest altitude is our show in Vail. So it's pretty cool to be able to participate in that and kind of contribute that to the sport.
Well, I will confirm that for you per my old running mate here on the program and your play-by-play guy, voice of the LFA Octagon, Mr. Ron Kruk. Yes, sir. That is the highest held mixed martial arts contests that are out there in Vail, Colorado. Now, Ed, with all of that being said, I think this is also crossing a pretty momentous milestone for the LFA in Vail. If I'm not mistaken, this is the 6th show back in Vail.
Yes, it is. We've been going there for probably 7 or 8 years, but obviously, because of the pandemic, we missed a year during the pandemic. But yes, Vail is, like I said, it's just an incredible place. It's God's country up there, and it's just so incredible to be able to go up there, put on an event in such a great, welcoming town. It's such a great town to go up to for the weekend and watch some great fights.
Certainly. Now let's dive into the card here, Ed. We have a bantamweight matchup between a couple of very high-level prospects who very well could be getting a call following the result of this Friday night's action. Talk to me a little bit more about this matchup.
Yes, I mean, you got Justin Wetzel, which is, he's had five finishes in his last 6 wins. The kid trains with Corey Sandhagen in Denver, and anybody who follows the sport knows the type of fighter Corey Sandhagen is. He was 10-0 as an amateur was his record. He's super exciting, so I'm really excited for this. And then he's taken on a very tough guy, Uzmanov, which he won the fight of the season on Tough 32. He's a professional boxer and a bare knuckle boxer, and he trains at Jackson Rink MMA in New Mexico. So, you got both guys coming, training in altitude. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. It is a 3-round fight. So I'm expecting fireworks. Both of these guys are very exciting. And I could say, the winner of this fight could definitely at least be a contender. And who knows, the winner of this fight, it may be the last time we see him fight in the LFA, because they're definitely going to be on a short list to get to the UFC.
There's certainly high stakes on the line there in that bantamweight matchup in the main event, but there's also a battle-tested matchup in the welterweight division in the co-main between a Bellator vet in Dante Sciro and a UFC veteran in AJ Fletcher out of Factory X. What do you foresee and how the action falls in this matchup?
I definitely can see it. It's going to be a banger fight also, because, you got Dante, who's he's got an 80% finishing rate. He's 3-0 in the LFA. And then you've got Fletcher, who's obviously he's been on, he's been in the UFC and a Dana White Contenders series veteran. He's from the same hometown as Alan Jabon and Dan Cormier, and he likes to bang too. So I mean, I'm expecting a lot from this welterweight fight. You've got two experienced guys. They've got about 15 fights each. So you're going to get some experienced guys out there throwing leather, and I'm definitely expecting. I don't think this fight will go to the judges. It's going to get finished. It's going to be finished. I'd say in the first couple rounds.
With that type of experience, there's certainly fireworks all over that matchup right there. There's also a considerable amount of familiar faces. This is a stacked card. There's a lot of fights scheduled on the bill, but there's a considerable amount of new faces that we'll be able to see this Friday night as well, Ed. How was the process in sourcing some of these new candidates to make their way into the LFA, and especially some of them who have a history here on the Colorado scene and have done pretty well for themselves?
Well, I could tell you this: anytime we do an event in Vail, it's not easy to get a card together, because you've got a lot of people that, if they're not from Colorado or from training in altitude, they always get a little bit nervous anytime they have to go to Colorado. But then to go up to Vail and compete, it even makes it even more intense. So it's not easy to put together the card. But another fight that we didn't talk about that I'm really excited about is Kendra McIntyre. Her fight against Marina Montero, which you got a 4-1 girl versus a 4-0 girl, but Kendra is a front runner for the KO of the year of her head kick from LFA 182. She knocked the girl out with this head kick that, man, it went viral. I think on our Instagram, it had over like 20 million views or something. It's incredible. So I'm really excited to see her. Plus, and she's fighting an undefeated prospect from Brazil who's 4-0 with 4 finishes. So I think that fight is a little bit, lower on the card. It's not the co-main or main event, but I'm telling you, this is definitely a strawweight female bout that is, you got to keep your eye out on. That's going to be an incredible bout.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's a shame that Kendra had she got left at the altar a couple of weeks ago, made it all the way to fight day, and the fight fell out. But then, fortunately for her, LFA is right back in her backyard here in Colorado in the following couple of weeks. As you mentioned, it was a viral sensation knockout, and she just kind of has that mentality. When we spoke with her on the program a couple of weeks ago, that she's a fighter through and through, and I think that she has a little bit of momentum riding on her side too as well, just coming back from Octagon MMA over there in Germany when Mallory Martin won a world title. So sometimes that momentum in the training room, that's really an asset towards these fighters. Would you agree?
Oh, I definitely agree. She trains with Rose, and then she goes and gets that experience over at Octagon with Mallory. I mean, all those things are just, even though you're just the corner, she's living through it. She's going through it's all great training mentally. for her and her visualizing everything she's going through. I'm expecting fireworks for this fight. I'm really excited about this fight.
Absolutely. But Ed, obviously I'm biased because I'm a Colorado guy, and a fair amount of these fighters have came up through the ranks on shows that I've worked or have been a part of. But from the start to the finish on the listing of this bout sheet, there's fighters that I think, the crowd that they're going to draw and just who they are, even namesake alone is going to make for a very special atmosphere on this card. We have Bobby Zefrin, who is in studio with us here today. He's on the card. You have flyweights who are standouts like Micah Haas. You have Harris the Bosnian Silverback Talunzik making a return. You have a flyweight fight that's flying under the radar for a potential fight of the night between Keenan Davis and Isaiah Torres. There are so many great fights on this. You have Team USA Muay Thai member David Serrano taking on Philip Lindsay's brother in Zach Lindsay. They have a huge crowd that follows them wherever they go. So I think that you have a tremendous card scheduled here for Friday night.
Oh yeah, that's one thing that's always great about the LFA is, everyone that fights in the LFA, they're really fighting to prove something, to move up to the next level. So a lot of times you're getting these guys come in there and their guns are blazing on everything. Everyone that comes in there, they're trying to make a name for themselves and they're trying to be seen. So sometimes you're going to get a lot of exciting fights. And as mentioning all the names that you mentioned, that the LFA always delivers, but you know what? I got to tell you, every time we come to Colorado and every time we come to Vail, there's always amazing fights. And yeah, I guarantee you guys tune in. You're going to be extremely satisfied because it's going to be a banger. It's going to be an incredible night. There's a lot of bangers on this card, and I'm looking forward to it. So, are you going to be there?
Yes, sir. I will be there watching, and I can't wait, Ed. I love going and checking you guys out every single time. It's a big league level production and show that we get with people who are on the rise, just like you said, hungry to make a name for themselves.
Yeah, it's like our slogan is where the future is now. You go to an LFA and you're going to easily see at least a half dozen to 10 of those athletes that you see competing on any LFA on any given card. You'll most likely you're going to see 6 to 10 of those athletes in the UFC within the year and a half. And that's the great thing about it is that you're always going to get top talent and see top fights. And I'm very, very proud to see all the athletes that go and compete in the UFC. And you know what? I'm extremely proud and congratulate every single athlete that takes the challenge to not only fight in the LFA, but to accept a fighting up in Vail at 8,100 feet, man. That's no joke. The air is thin up there, and all these athletes always come up there prepared and ready to give it their all. So I just got to thank the athletes for that. Without them, we wouldn't have a show. So I'm extremely grateful for every athlete that competes with the LFA and is always professional and coming prepared.
I think that there's some of the things that make this Vail card special, Ed, or some of the traditions that have been kind of solidified through the process, like the Vail walk, like just the image of, seeing the fighters making that walk through the town with the mountain landscape behind that. To me, that sort of shot, it's so picturesque that fits the moment that I don't know. It's one of my favorite shots out there that gets captured for every one of these Vail shows that you guys do. And I am a little bit biased because that's what I won photo of the year with, but still to me, like just such a beautiful shot to have that Colorado landscape right behind all of these guys, the main events right there, center pinning it with everybody funneled off from them. To me, that's what that Vail show is right there.
Oh yeah, like I said, it's an incredible show. It's a special show every time we do it, and I believe this will be our last show at this particular venue because they're going to be tearing that arena down and building a new arena. So this will be a very bittersweet because I'm looking forward to working there in the new venue, but this venue is a very classic. Monumental venue there, and it'll be our last show there.
Yes, so many memories there at the Dobson Arena. But Ed, I have one major question for you. Then this is the hot topic that all the people want to know. It is the question that has so much demand. Are you ready for it?
What is it?
Who is the leading person in the odds for the bowling match before the fights?
Oh man, God, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I know who the leading guy. You know who always does pretty good. It's always like a sleeper. It's someone that I don't remember who won last year. You know what? It's always a pretty good competition, but I'm gonna have to go with. I think Jamie, our producer, does always pretty well. Jamie does pretty well in the bowling matches, I believe.
Okay, Jamie McClintock, I could see that.
That's
I
it.
also
Yeah.
I figure Johnny Card seems to me like he could throw some strikes down.
He'll do okay. He's athletic. He's athletic. he
He's
goes
just
for it.
wiry and wild enough.
He goes for it. He goes for it. I don't know how much technique he has.
Fair enough right there. Ed, as we wrap things up here, is there anything that you would like to get out there to the audience, to that your friends, family, supporters, anybody who is potentially going out there to check these fighters out this Friday night?
No, man, just other than just come up, drive safe, getting up there, and just appreciate the support. You know, the LFA. You know, we've been around since 2017, and we've done a lot of great things. And if it wasn't for the athletes, and if it wasn't for the fans, we wouldn't be able to be doing what we're doing. So just appreciate the support of all the fans, and appreciate all the professionalism of all the athletes that compete for the LFA. Without them, we wouldn't be what we are today.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Ed.
Thank you.
Yeah, folks, that is the CEO of the Legacy Fighting Alliance, Ed Soares. You can check out Legacy Fighting Alliance 195 exclusively this Friday night on UFC Fight Pass. You can check the final action of the prelims there on YouTube. Check the action out live in person at the Dobson Arena. Ed, thank you again so much for joining us here today.
Thank you, man. Take care.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, folks, before we wrap up the show for the day, I want to talk to you about a quick passion project that is near and dear to us here at the MMA Plug and is also of a great benefit to the community as a whole. That is the Guardian Project. What is Guardian? Guardian aims to provide jiu-jitsu for all. This is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that's committed to providing free youth jiu-jitsu scholarships to underserved youth around the world. Guardian is dedicated to offering children year-round stability and consistency through our programs, focusing not just on their physical transformation, but also on fostering positive friendships, mentorship opportunities, and a secure environment during challenging times. By partnering with established and trustworthy academies, donors can trust that a minimum of 85% of their contributions directly fund the scholarships that they support. As of now, there are more than 390 underserved youth students that are currently fully sponsored within our 17 projects worldwide. You can visit FactoryXMuayThai.com to make your tax-deductible donation and help support a student within our community today. All right, folks, we are going to put a button on this thing here. Me and Bobby are going to go 3 rounds to close out the hour. We got Alex behind the boards. First round, my man. What do we have?
All right, guys. Round 1. Brendan Schaub and Nate Diaz traded barbs online with Brendan challenging Nate to a grappling match. Any thoughts?
I mean, everybody likes to poke fun at Brendan, and I understand. And some of Brendan's rant that he went on, like a bitter ex on social media, like going for pages and pages, like he wasn't wrong in what he said. Like, yeah, like he's a big goofball. You can make fun of his comedy, all of that, but let's not get it twisted. He's still 6'4", 250 pounds, who was athletic enough to have an invite to try out for an NFL team. Obviously didn't make it, but was athletic enough to get that cup of coffee. He was a top 10 heavyweight at one point in time. He is a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I get it. Nate's a dog, but there's weight classes for a reason.
Yeah. I think, I mean, it's kind of funny what Brendan Schaub reacts to. There's things that don't bother him at all. And then there's these things like Nate Diaz and, I mean, I'd be open to see it. I think Brendan Schaub's way too big. Like you said, weight classes for a reason. And I mean, Nate's super good on the ground, but he's just gonna get manhandled, I think.
He is, but we're talking a big athletic heavyweight.
Yeah.
It's a tough element to deal with when you're talking about Nate, who's maybe 6'6'1", walks around between 190 and 200 now that he's not in regular fight shape. Brendan is an athletic 6'4", 250.
Yeah.
There's a difference just in size, plain and simple. Round 2.
All right, second round here. Tatiana Soares has pulled out of her upcoming UFC 310 fight at 33. Is the run over for the once highly touted prospect?
It's not over per se, but let's take a look at the situation for Tatiana Soares overall. Her 33 is not a normal 33. She is a high-level combat sports athlete with a litany of injuries and health circumstances throughout the course of her career, dating back to, being an Olympic level wrestler, to having a cancer diagnosis, which took her away for a while, and having multiple surgeries that have put her on hiatus for years at a time. Ever since she won the Ultimate Fighter, she has been thought of as a future champion, Bobby, but just injuries and these health situations have unfortunately derailed that path for her.
Yeah, my question about it all is what is going on in her camps? Who is she training with? Is it really just bad luck, or is it something to where she can control and she's, being hard-headed about it? We don't know that, but that's the thing I would ask, because you hear again and again she's getting injured and now having to pull out of her fight, and a lot of people thought she was going to be champion years ago. I can kind of relate with the injuries and stuff, but her streak seems, I mean, a lot worse. And yeah, I just hope she has a group around her that she needs and can control what she can control if she isn't right now.
Yeah, and she could still make a title run, Bobby, if she, depending on how bad this injury is and how long she's out for, and especially just with the division not being so deep. She has the chance with her wrestling skills and with her ability to control where the action takes place. She is that damn good to where she could still do it, but her window to maximize what could have been is gone.
Yeah, I think to answer the question, she still can be a champion for sure, but it's kind of she's got to make those changes now. That's going to avoid and reduce these injuries and these delays.
Definitely. And there's something to be said about momentum. 2 fights in 5 years really doesn't help that.
Yeah.
Third round.
Third round. Francis Ngannou defeated PFL champ Henan Fajeda over the weekend in his return to MMA. Does this solidify Francis as the best heavyweight in the world?
No. I mean, let's break this down for what it is again. Did Francis go out there and have a dominant performance? Yes.
Yeah.
But are we going to give him the crown of some sort of just otherworldly performance against a guy who, outside of one big power shot, most people in the know didn't really give a chance to win the fight, or didn't think that Henan Fajeda was going to beat Francis outside of a Hail Mary knockout, outside of the puncher's chance, if you will, which he didn't throw punches, which was baffling to me. That all aside, he is somebody who I think that we would collectively not consider to be the next top contender, prospect, challenger, whatever, to be the king of the hill at heavyweight. Fair or not?
I mean, I think he's got to be up there in the conversation. Greatest of all time yet? No, but he's definitely up there. And for him to get that win,
And not even of all time, just right now.
yeah, just right now. I mean, he's got to be up there in the conversation. And obviously, he's fighting for PFL, not UFC. But to do that to a guy that was 6'8" and came out, landed a hard leg kick right off the bat, and then from there, Ngannou landed one back, timed a perfect takedown, and just brutalized him on top to almost too many punches on top. But it was awesome to see. I was very happy for him considering his loss of his son. And the best right now, I don't think with that fight you can say that, but he's inching closer and closer.
I think that he has kept himself in the discussion, but I just don't think that if he would have went out there and immediately like one hitter quittered him, if he would have overeemed him, then you know what, you make a great case to say, hey, you know what, Francis might be that dude. But Francis decided that after the leg kick, just as you mentioned, that he decided to shoot. Can he wrestle John Jones like that? Can he wrestle or can he grapple with Tom Aspinall like that? I don't think that he could do that in either one of those two cases. So do I think that keeps him relevant in the top 3 heavyweights in the world discussion, pending what happens in a couple of weeks at Madison Square Garden? Yes. But do I think that him beating the B League champion in a dominant fashion where he pretty much, he took him down and ragdolled him, and we know that Francis has improved his wrestling, but we don't know Francis to be this otherworldly grappler by any measure of the stick. Correct?
Yeah.
So that's where I say that no, I don't believe that win puts Francis at the top of the mountain right now of the heavyweights. It makes him stay relevant, but does it say, oh yes, he's still that guy? I think that it's contestable.
I think the question is who's next for him? Who do they bring out that's a real threat? And secondly, to push back on your point a little bit, would he need to wrestle John Jones? Would he need to wrestle Stipe? I think he's going to take the striking. And I mean, we all have opinions on how that would go. Who will know? Who knows? We may never see it. I would love to see it.
It all just circles back to we just wanted the fight that we all missed out on in John Jones and Francis Ngannou. But just like that, folks, we are all out of time. We want to thank you all so much for tuning in with us each and every week for this original combat sports programming here on the MMA Plug on Mile High Sports. I want to give a special thank you to everybody who joined us here on the program today. My man, Bobby Z from the Bobby Z. Follow him, 2 E's on Instagram. We had Justin Wetzel on the program. He's going to be one half of that main event for this weekend's LFA 195 show. Check out that main card action exclusively on UFC Fight Pass. Prelims are available on YouTube. We also had the opportunity to chat today with the CEO of the Legacy Fighting Alliance in Ed Soares. Guys, again, if you have the chance, please like, share, subscribe, all of the platforms here for the Mile High Sports Network. They are working diligently to provide you with nothing but the latest and greatest content and sports coverage here for the Core Four, along with us here on the MMA Plug for the combat sports world. I want to thank my man Alex behind the boards today, filling in for Danny. As mentioned, be on the lookout for that Patrick Surtan 2 exclusive that the boys are doing with him right now. I'm Jordan Kurtz. Give me a follow along online at Comments from the Peanut Gallery. This is the MMA Plug presented to you by Mile High Sports.
Clear. All clear.